Using default lifecycle stages in HubSpot is like serving fine dining on a paper plate. Technically, it works, but it's not built for the experience you're trying to deliver. Welcome back to HubSpot Mentors, the show where we help you untangle your CRM spaghetti. I love it. And get back to the joy of selling, marketing, and scaling your business with, of course, HubSpot. So, Sammy, what's today's episode all about?
Man, today's episode is all about the life cycle stages, which is very difficult to kind of tell someone brand new. But if you're a HubSpot user, you know that HubSpot's practically built on life cycle stages, like the high level, top level reporting, the fundamental of within HubSpot. So yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today. The do's and the don'ts, the issues with fun with it, how you should be setting it up, all the fancy things. So if you want to know more about it, this is the episode you should be watching. This
is an exciting episode, Sammy, because I mean, even when we were doing a bit of prep work for it the other day, we have had different opinions on this particular feature in HubSpot. I know I've changed my mind a few times over the years about it, and I think you have as well. So I'm excited to go into, why I think, and I think you would agree for the most part, the default lifecycle stages just don't cut it anymore. I mean, back in the day, you could never edit them, and now you can. So I'm a huge believer of edit them, touch them, do stuff with them if your business needs, of course. We're going to talk about like what a lot of businesses are doing now that we're doing optimizations and new onboardings with. And then, of course, we're going to give a practical example of how to fix it in HubSpot with zero panic and minimal crying.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Because I know if you're touching life cycle stages, you'll definitely cry in the background because you're like, damn it, there's so much data.
At least inside.
So you're like, there's so much data I got to handle. This is getting too insane. Absolutely. I think the most important thing here is for those that maybe just don't know what life cycle stages are. I know I didn't when I first started as well. We're going through this conversation together. And I asked you, hey, Tash, how do I explain life cycle stages effectively to a customer who has never heard about it before? And it was that pivotal moment because I was trying to explain it like a stage, and like it's like a different stage within HubSpot, and they go through different steps and blah blah blah. But he gave me a really good analogy that made it sediment, and I think that's been fundamental to the way I started operating within HubSpot. That was life cycle stages are like time stamps on how things move or how customers move through your CRM. So if they're a subscriber, they became a subscriber on this date, they exit on this date, and so on and so on. When did they become a customer? When did they become an opportunity? It's a time stamp. If we treat it that way, in my opinion, then everything gets clearer in your mind for what life cycle stages are about.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I still use that analogy. I mean, I've been using that analogy for like 10 years now, that the life cycle stage is a timestamp on the contact at that moment in time when they entered that particular stage. I'm quite visual as well when I explain this. I kind of think of, life cycle stages sit above your lead stages or statuses, depending on which one you're using. It sits above your deal stages, but they still all connect in this beautiful workflow system settings type of world. I mean, I don't know how this made it into our show notes, but just to give you some insight into HubSpot lifecycle stages, they're just labels that tell you where someone is in the journey with your business, right? Think of it like dating. Now, both you and I haven't dated for many years because we're, married to our significant others. But I mean, if we can cast our minds back, a subscriber might be someone that's just found your profile. A lead is someone that's swiped right. An MQL's had a few flirty DMs. An SQL is ready for a coffee date. Opportunity, we're talking exclusively. Customer, we've made it official. Evangelist, we're bragging about you to all of their friends. And other is complicated. So for our single people out there, hopefully that analogy helped.
Pretty much. It's so true. Like I think there's too, in my opinion, people to put too much emphasis on life cycle stages when I know it's fundamental, it's important, but HubSpot has evolved and there's so many different elements and tools, and that you should just, I guess, understand where people are at,
That's it. I mean, one sentence version, life cycle stages, traffic lights for your contacts. They tell you who's stopped, who's moving, who's ready to go.
Yeah.
So it really is a lot simpler than maybe what it might sound, or maybe the scariness that you feel like it could be. I think when people don't realize, one, how easy it is actually to manage life cycle stages inside of HubSpot, and that the system, like you said at the very beginning of the episode, Semi, the system is built for it.
Yeah.
Like with some of the default reports, with some of the capabilities, the pre-built automations, like the settings inside, the best example, when a contact enters a system, automatically turns into a lead. So lead lifecycle, lead object. So it's kind of already there. And what we find is contacts or customers are coming to us saying our HubSpot's broken, fix it. And then we go and look at something like lifecycle stages and they've never touched it. They've never, even if they didn't change them, they've never just mapped them to how they're using the CRM. So it's quite like it's super admin. It's literally just admin-y stuff. You need some type of strategic input to understand a portal, understand how the data works, understand how your business works. But ultimately what we're talking about here is administration skills inside of HubSpot. Like I'm calling the spade the spade. It's not like we're doing rocket science.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think just to add to that as well, Tash, it's people they don't know what it's meant to be used for effectively, like what it entails, and therefore there is a bit of education element, right? Like, sure, feel free to touch it, but if you don't need to, don't touch it. Like, move on with it, because it's easier to touch it in the future when you are a little bit more better in terms of like your CRM and what you want to report on at that point, versus like when you start putting different life cycle.
Yeah, we're going to come to that. We're going to come to that. I know what you're alluding to, and we'll come back. We'll definitely come back to this. So there are some, there's some pain points that we're aware of. So I want to rattle a few things off.
Yeah.
And if any of these resonate with you, then there's a good chance you need to address your life cycle stages in your HubSpot portal. Everyone's marked as a lead. You've got enterprise buyers, tire kickers, ex-clients all dumped into the same bucket. Your lifecycle reports are literally flatlining because 70% of contacts never even change stages. Sales are working on deals, but marketing's still nurturing them because no one ever moved them to an opportunity. You can't forecast a pipeline because half your contacts skipped the opportunity stage and went straight to customer in one weird workflow. And the default stages are really a relic of what maybe your customer journey looked like, 10 years ago. So this is what we hear over and over again, or more or less similar words. And that's like indications that, okay, you're not using life cycle stages, which in turn, like I said before, that hierarchy, if you're not using that properly, you're probably not using lead and deal stages properly either. So it kind of all snowballs.
Yeah, I agree.
What about I think this is where we were talking before, Semi, it's like common scenarios that we've seen a lot of in the last couple of months, I would say, when these optimization systems come. This is a good one. I don't want to steal it from you. You say the funny one.
Well, there's like a few ones. You got the passive CRM where everyone's waiting for someone else to update the life cycle stage because sales blames marketing blames sales. The intern just graduated from how to work the Canva right now, right?
Works at Canva now. And then we see this. We see this all the time. Sales are like, marketing are meant to do that. And marketing's like, well, sales should be doing that. And then marketing's like, I had my intern do that. And then the intern's left like 3 months ago. So no one's doing it. Like no one's 100%. Actually doing the updating of something. Yeah. So yeah, we see that. We see that a lot.
What about the Frankenstein monster?
You've had this one. You've had this one a few times recently as well.
Yeah, it's like
I love it.
It's like I do my portal audits. I go through everything except I look at life cycle stage at the end. I'm like, I think that's probably have a look at that a little bit later. And then when I open it, I see like 14 or 15.
It's the Frankenstein monster.
Exactly, right? There's like so many different things in there. Like, what was it? Hot lead, pre-MQL, post-MQL. What was the other one? Hail Mary.
Was a lead. Hail Mary. What was a lead, now ghosted. Yeah. And it just gets overkill. Yeah. I mean, I've actually, in the portal that I went in last week, they only had 4. And I was like, oh, wow, I've heard of keep it simple, but I think this might be too simple.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have any opportunity stage. So, I mean, we've seen it. We've seen the whole range of these life cycle stage scenarios.
Yeah.
And then this last scenario I want to share is a false positive. This one's good. A contact fills out a gated ebook and now they're a qualified opportunity. Karen just wanted your Canva template. She's not ready to buy a $20,000 subscriction. Like we see it all the time.
True.
They're like, oh, they've done this, so we have to start selling them that. So again, just we've spoken about, what they are. We've spoken about pros and cons of changing them, common scenarios, common pain points. I mean, Semi, how do we fix this for a client? What do we tell our listeners? How do you go and fix this?
I think before we fix it, I think there's a little element that we like. It's like, are you the default HubSpot user, and then have you customized it already? I think that's a good start. If you're a default and just left it alone and that's fine. That's a really good way of starting fresh and going, okay, great. Let's figure out what's the timeline your customer goes through to understand, like, what are the stages the customer goes through, understand what that looks like. But then if you've touched it and it's all over the place, then it's a matter of understanding what each stage means. And believe it or not, most of the time people are just like, I don't know why this stage is in there, because like someone's moved on. And so what do you do with that client? You can't call
So
them.
are you saying, like, depending on the listener scenario, so like if you're brand new to a portal, if you've got a nice brand spanking new portal and there's nothing in there, you've got your default stages, and this is what we do for any of our clients. So if you're listening and you've got a brand new portal or you're about to get a portal, I mean, do a customer journey mapping exercise. We've got heaps. If you just literally Google search customer journey mapping Red Pandas, you'll get like 15 different resources on how to do it. Do that because our templates actually have life cycle stages mapped in them already. So that'll actually help you already kind of map it all. That's a good new portal. But then are you saying if you're an existing portal, existing data, and existing Frankenstein monsters, this is a different. It's a different
approach. You can't just fix it like that way. Yeah. So it's like brand new portal, brand new. I think I guess maybe the question is, if you're brand new portal, brand new CRMs, don't touch it. You're better not touching it and just focus on the tools within it, because then the automated ones at least.
Unless See, this is where I would challenge. Because I'd say touch it if you do a successful customer journey mapping and you can show me or be strategic with me to build your case as to why you want to change it.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Which I think you agree, because you and I have done onboardings together and we've changed it before when there's a good use case for it. But then, yes, if a customer comes to us and they're like, they can't grasp the concept of life cycle stages because we're trying to teach them so much stuff in a short period of time, then I would agree with you and say, no, just leave it as it is.
I'll just give you an example. You got lead, marketing qualified lead, sales qualified lead. And then when I try to explain to someone, okay, you got 3 different types of lead, and the client goes, which one do I use? What does that mean? Right? Like, it makes sense for us because we've been working in it, but for someone who doesn't know, it just doesn't make sense. So just park it, move on. Otherwise, do a customer journey map like Tasha's saying. Figure out if you do need those stages, then customize it based on those needs. And then you can at least, when we ask you, hey, why do you have that stage? You can at least give us an answer on why that stage exists. And it's not like a Hail Mary.
I don't know. It was just something we made 5 years ago. So with that said, Semi, should we jump into a featured feature that you're going to take us through?
Yeah, sure.
With high level, what to look out for when maybe reviewing or assessing a cleanup of your life cycle stages?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go through that at the end of our call. Other than that,
that's it. I mean, if you've been wrestling with reports that don't make sense, wondering why your life cycle funnel looks like a mystery maze, or you just want to stop Karen from being flagged as an opportunity, then it's time for a life cycle stage spring cleanup, which is what Semi's going to take us through in a featured feature in a moment. If you need help with this on your own, in your HubSpot portal, we do HubSpot optimization projects. They are probably our hottest product right now in the HubSpot department. And we're seeing some incredible results. And this is one of the tasks we do in these projects. It's probably one of the first things we do for our clients in these projects. So don't hesitate to reach out to Semi, myself, the team. We'd be happy to scope something out and have a chat about how we can help you. But with that said, over to you, Mr. Semi.
Thanks, guys. Today we're going to be going through lifecycle stages in HubSpot, how to use them, how to edit and configure them, how to also update and move data around depending and using workflows within HubSpot. So without wasting more time, let's jump straight into our portal. So on the left-hand side, you've got contacts. This is where lifecycle stages will typically live. So if you click into contacts, you should then be able to see your view with all these different stages. Now, I've added my lifecycle stage here so I can see it. Otherwise, if you want to add this, you go to the left-hand side, you go edit columns. And in here, you'll be able to edit these columns however you would like. If it's not in here, you'll then be able to search it on the left-hand side and update and edit it from there. So once you have that, it should be visible for you to then apply and see it on your customer view, your contact view. Now, in your contacts, all of these different stages will appear if you've been using them correctly. So you'll be able to go through, update and edit depending on what that would look like. You can easily update them through just by clicking, for example, customer, now is a lead, and then that should then update it. And therefore, this person now becomes a lead. So this is how to use it within HubSpot. Again, it's pretty straightforward, but let's just say that you want to configure this to make sure that it fits within your customer journey mapping and allows you to understand the timestamps on when things will enter, when things will go out. So a little bit more in depth than the standard HubSpot ones. So to do that, we'll go to the right-hand side, click on settings, and then we would end up in our contacts settings page under objects. And in here on the top tabs, you should be able to see lifecycle stage. Once you click into that, you'll then be able to update in here. And in here, this is the default HubSpot. If I have a look at this, I know that this is the default HubSpot lifecycle stages. You've got a subscriber, lead, marketing qualified, lead, sales qualified, opportunity, and the list goes on. In here, you've got your automations, but we can leave them for the time being. But I just want to go through the stages in here first. So this is your lifecycle stages. The key with lifecycle stages are it moves, unless you move it manually, it moves in one direction from top to bottom. Even workflows don't change it if you do try to change it if they're in the bottom. For example, you want to move other to lead or unengaged lead or subscribe, whatever that will look like. You have to use a workflow, you have to clear it and actually do that. We'll show you that in a little second. So look out for that. Now, lifecycle stage will go through from bottom to top. And if you want to update any of these, then it's pretty straightforward. You go to the left-hand side, go edit. Now, HubSpot will prompt you that once you do change it, functionally, you need to know the reason why you're changing it. Again, like I said, it's like a timestamp. It needs to have a clear reason why you're doing it, and therefore it may impact a few things. One of the things that it may also impact, just so you know, is if you're trying to find knowledge-based articles and stuff, and it talks about leads and different stuff, then it might not relate. Knowledge-based articles within HubSpot might not relate to this stage. So just an FYI note of that. So if you go through this, go continue, and then it'll then tell you, for example, how to edit it. Just pretty straightforward. You just update that. Now, I like to rename mine to unengaged lead because there is a fair bit of different types of leads. So I'll go unengaged lead, go edit lifecycle stage, and this will then update lifecycle stage. I can see that. You can also add a lifecycle stage. For example, there's customer, but I also want to tag when my customers become ex-customers. So I'll go ex customer, and then create lifecycle stage. I can then also move this just by dragging it across the right stage, and this is it. Again, these are timestamps. They're not. I wouldn't recommend you filter out or a whole bunch of. You can filter, use a whole bunch of stuff with it, but just note that the intention behind it is to tag where your customers are at on your customer journey, very, very high level. So this is how you edit them. We went through how to use them. This is how you edit and update them. Now, if you want to move data around, let's just say that, like I said, we've got other and go and subscriber. You can just go through, use a list, and then update it. But what I would recommend that you do is you can also use it through workflows. And typically using it through workflows to trigger a whole range of other things is probably a really good use case for lifecycle stages. So before we do that, I just want to touch base on HubSpot's by default workflows. or automations. So when a new contact is created, it will be tagged as a lead. I just renamed this to unengaged lead. You can see that it also changed. Now, if it's not an engaged lead, if it's going to go through a different, if it's a marketing qualified lead like an MQL, then you can also, use a workflow to then update that so custom ones. Otherwise, by default, once a lead becomes qualified, then it becomes an opportunity, and now you've got, by default, you need to do that workflow, so it will automatically tag it as an opportunity. If a opportunity becomes a customer when a deal is won effectively, then it'll become a customer. So this is what those settings are. There is that lifecycle stage when a lead is associated. You can have a look at that also. But these are the three primary ones that would definitely affect. This is how it's all set up. So just an FYI, note of that. Now let's go ahead and create a workflow on the left-hand side to move some data around. So I'll show you what that would look like. So click on workflows. Now in here in this workflow section, what I want to do is go to the top right-hand side, go create a workflow from scratch. Now this view might look very different to yours. That's okay. They're rolling out this new version. It's in beta at the moment. You can opt in, opt out from that on the left-hand side here. Just make a note of that. If you want to look at the way I'm doing it, then I would recommend that you click here and opt out of beta, and this is what it would look like. All right. So now once we're in here, we go contact-based workflow. Remember, we're in the contact object. It is a contact object feature that Lifecycle Stages represents. Now we're going next. And in here, it will open up your trigger. Let's click on the trigger button. Go when a filter criteria is met. And then we go contact properties, very standard stuff, and search for Lifecycle Stage. And then is any of, I'm going to say is other. We're going to move other to unengaged lead. Let's just save this for lead. If you're using the old Lifecycle Stages, then it's now Lifecycle Stage is any of other, but that's the trigger. So any contacts that have other as Lifecycle Stage will enroll into this workflow. We don't need to re-enroll them. This is just one-off data movement workflow. So just so you know. Now, once that is done, we go press the plus button. We go create CRM, and in here there's all range of different actions. The one we're looking for is edit record. Now, once you click edit record, you do have contact type, and then you go which is what we're looking for. Search for Lifecycle Stage again, and then you'll go for this one. Others, for example, needs to be an engaged lead. I want to move it from there to there, so I'll go unengaged lead, and then I'll go save. Now, if you were to do this workflow, this won't actually do any changes. Remember, to change it, we need to clear the workflow through to then make an action. So what I'll show you is you need to duplicate this. So I'll go clone this action only, paste it at the top. That will then have it at the top like this. And in here, we'll go into this and then select clear existing property value first. And then the next action is set as an engaged lead if you're using workflows. All right. So that's how you would set this workflow up to be able to move data from one area to another. Like I said, before you do it, I would highly recommend that you come up with a plan, understand where your data is going from, where it is, where do you want it to go, how should the end version look like. You might end up with, separate empty ones, and then you might have to split them through like different segmentation and stuff using lists. So it can get complicated, but just so you know, if you were to use a workflow, you can definitely do it through this way. Before I leave anything, I will definitely try to rename this workflow. We would typically do system, update, life cycle stage, other, lead, and then you can, very fancy feature, click generate, and that should then generate the description for you. Once you do that, save, and then you can turn your workflow on, see how many enroll, and then make those changes. I think that's it for now. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, and more than happy to support and assist where we can. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.